Happy Thursday, man. It's effing cold. I'm Gun. Twitter.com/Gundacker. Hope you guys are staying warm out there, no matter where you're at. Sounds like most of us, we can assume, are in colder climates today. I'm assuming Raj is in colder climates than I am, but I'm looking at low 20 degrees and some sleet out there. And actually, I think right now it's snowing a little bit, but I don't want to move this curtain because the cold draft is coming through the windowsill, and my sockless feet are freezing. Raj, what up, Raj? How you doing up there in the north?
Well, you know what? Our storm wasn't as bad as people thought. We were expected to get, I think, was 14, 15 inches, something like that. Got a little less. It wasn't too crazy. And I think the city was ready. So, the city was cleaning roads from last night. So all the roads are clear, salted, ready to go. Weather, I think we got the same weather, dude. It's -7 degrees Celsius. So Fahrenheit, it's 19 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
I think we're living in similar
the
weather.
F is Celsius. Get this Celsius nonsense out of here. This guy with his guyness. I
Yeah,
have
we're
fixed
chilling.
your camera. No, I guess that's fine. I gotta maximize this stuff later and realize it.
I'm telling you, you gotta do the other one. You gotta make mine bigger. You know what I'm saying? I think people want to see this face. And
Do
just
they
put it on the other side too.
though?
I think a lot more ladies would come through.
Oh yeah.
Wait till that fade comes up.
I just took you
Telling you.
off. No.
Oh, see now they leave.
No, I don't know about all that. All right, so I widen it a little bit. There we go. We can do that. We can move it to the right. No perfectionist. I don't care. Even live. We'll do it live. Yo, shout out to the live chat hanging out already, man. This is becoming a really successful time for the channel. It's not looking good, chat. We're just gonna have to deal with that. I don't know. It irks me. But what up, live chat? What up, everyone hates Chris, Mia Moore, Skimmer, Jay Smooth up in the chat, Mighty Saint, Ibsen Bracy. The sub gun need a win today. I'm 43. Give me some fire. Over 43. Is this your birthday hint or over 43 points? I don't know. What up, Jason Trotter? How you doing, bro? Yo, what up, Gun? I doubled on Yahoo, but Fanduel Isaiah Jackson effed me onto today. Oh man, Damien, I was right there with you, man. I had a whole lot of Isaiah Jackson last night. A lot of the crew had a lot of Isaiah Jackson tonight. One of those unfortunate DFS series of events where a great play gets hurt, like the first play, right? The seconds into the game. What are you gonna do? Damroth says, here we are again. No 199 super chats. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's a YouTube thing because I dang sure didn't. I don't even know, like even if I wanted to, I don't even know how I could do that. So I don't know. Got a lot of minutes. Slate breaker. Let's go. What up, JNY? What up, Josh Gilham? Jackson got hurt 12 seconds of the game. It's just what are you gonna do, right? Josh says somehow I cashed and placed decent on a lineup with Jackson on Yahoo. I felt like Jackson's ownership was so high that there was gonna be some success stories that got there, which makes those lineups hurt that much more, right? Get that much saltier. Oh man, I did well with this dead spot in my body. It's in my body, in my lineup, which you guys know the CJ Miles story, man. That I can relate. But overall, last night, man, there was a lot of high scores. Luka Doncic led the entire slate fantasy points, 71 DKP. He played 43 minutes, 40 real points, 10 assists. LaMelo Ball, 39 minutes against the Celtics, 38 real points, 9 assists, 63 fantasy points. And then Joel Embiid, 59 fantasy points, 27 real points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. He was obviously one of the better center plays if you knew Nikola Jokic was going to be out. And I actually had him edging Jokic by like a point or two. So I ended up just playing Joel Embiid. If you guys had time machines and you're crazy, Terry Taylor dropped 52. I actually didn't hate Terry Taylor, but the Nick Claxton play, 29 minutes for Claxton against the Kings, 23 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks, and a steal. So my man might have flirted with near 60 fantasy points on Fanduel. Julius Randle, 49 fantasy points, 18 real points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, close to triple-double. However, Nick still gets smacked up by the Grizzlies there. Jaren Jackson Jr., 26 real points, 10 rebounds, 3 stocks. And then from there, just pretty much what you expect. Spencer Dinwiddie he did triple double, 14 of the craziest sweat points that you guys ever did sweat. Did you have some action on Dinwiddie over 12 and a half
I
points?
did. I
Bro,
did. That was it was. I just felt like a unnecessary sway. He shot 4 for 16. He had 5 quick points, and yeah, I mean he came through at the end. We got lucky, but
did we get
yeah,
lucky or
yeah,
were
like,
we
like
just
free throws at the
skilled?
end with like 3 seconds left. It was 100% luck. We got lucky. It happens, and we got unlucky in other spots, right? We got
Right.
lucky with Bojan, unlucky with foul trouble for Jared Allen. Yeah, it's just one of those things where Prize Picks, we hit a few, we didn't hit, and I
Yeah.
lost a little
Hey,
bit last night. Yeah,
every now and then you get hooked, right? And then sometimes the hook goes your way. If you guys weren't part of the sweat, Spencer Dinwiddie 16 shot attempts, only made 4. So you hear 4 for 16, you're thinking, oh, that guy must have took all threes and just had a bad night, right? No, Dinwiddie took 3 threes, made 1 of them. The rest of his shots were mid range and in the paint. He was missing layups. We got lucky that down the stretch they were hack a
clearly we
shacking.
should have taken his fantasy points because that
Yeah,
just makes
well, I
face
mean, I
cash.
had a big chunk of them in fantasy too, but
Mhm.
he had 6 free throw attempts, 5 made 5 of them, and 2 of them he made with literally almost no time left in the game to hit the over of 12 and a half. So fun little sweat. Sometimes it goes your way. Sometimes it goes your
Yeah,
way. And last night for the Dinwiddie point prop, it went our way. John Morant, 46 fantasy points. Kyle Kuzma, 46. He had a really hot start, kind of fizzled out there. Tyrese Maxey, 22 real points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Really not a ton of shockers throughout the player pool of what you needed. Evan Fournier had another one of those trolley 40 plus fantasy point games, but for the most part, it was a big slate, right? Big slates are going to put up some weird stuff. Gary Harris dropped 40, Trey Mann dropped 40. Robert Covington, I thought this was one of the most incredible stat lines last night. He had 38.25 DraftKings fantasy points, Raj.
yeah. Did he shoot like 0 for 9?
Yeah, I
Something
was
like
gonna
that.
say, how many real points would you guess he had on almost 40 fantasy points?
I mean, you would think he'd have at least like 10 to 15.
He had 0.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's
How many
crazy.
steals and blocks?
He had 13 rebounds, 9 assists. He almost double with no points. Four
Besides, still quite a few rebounds, yeah, and
four
steals too. I
steals
mean,
and a block. And just think
wow.
of it, like if he would have got the double bonus or whatever, man, that was an incredible stat line from him. And then of course throughout the night, if you guys were sweating the news, we got no Jokic, no Whiteside, no Jordan Clarkson, so a lot of late swap. But last night the West Coast games largely sucked. For late night hammer
Mm,
reasoning, right? Anthony Davis was
yeah.
50-60. Carmelo dropped 40. If you're on Westbrook,
Davis came through at the end.
yeah,
He definitely
if
came
you're
through
on
clutch.
Westbrook, he was a point away from a triple double. Was good for his
Mhm.
assists, but his 40 fantasy points was largely unnecessary. And then Norman Powell dropping 40, that would have been nice. 30 real points. Nurkic dropped 40, like that's a little bit more irrelevant. And then the Brooklyn to Sacramento, Brooklyn playing without KD, without LaMarcus Aldridge. James Harden had 4 real points. Raj, 4.
I
He
saw that. He just
he
wasn't scoring any real life
he
points at
had
all.
more turnovers than points.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. Kyrie Irving, the only Nick Claxton on the team exceeded 30 fantasy points, and then on the other side, Halliburton 41 is kind of unremarkable for his price point. Chemezi Metu was second on the team with 36 fantasy points, and then I ended up with a big chunk of Rashawn Holmes. Rashawn Holmes did not touch the court after his little stint in the third quarter. They
Yeah, what
closed
happened?
they closed out the third and the fourth quarter like with Damian Jones and Chemezi Metu. So
Yeah,
the Kings just doing their thing, man. I don't know. I don't know why I said Ty Lue
that's
just
annoying.
now. I guess Ty Lue makes those same type of moves. So yeah, late night hammers, and then like I said, Denver, Utah really was. There's nothing on Utah worth having for tournaments. I was high on Bojan. Will Barton was solid, but nothing shattering from that late stretch of games. So those of you that don't believe in late night hammers, last night was a good night for you. There's some some raw points from AD, man. What up, Nova Scotia? How's the weather for you two? Same storm stretching from Texas to Toronto. Seems like it. All I know is in the interest of audio pollution, so that you guys can get some crisp audio from old Gun Show here. I don't have the AC on and heat as well. and I moved my desk near a window, and the draft of the window, just the air bleeding through the window, is freezing my feet right now, and it's so cold, dude, like so cold. So I'm really I might need to like hustle a blanket around my feet. If my producer will get up later, keep that in mind. What up, Fear Money Entertainment? Any suggestions for Fanduel single entry today? Gun? Yeah, man, we're gonna go every game here, chop it up. There's still some bits of news floating around that might shape some stuff, but generally this slate is it's pretty top heavy. So if you guys missed it, the San Antonio Spurs game with the Miami Heat was moved up an hour and a half for this storm that we have right now. It's really not that big of a storm, but I guess they're worried about public safety with ice and all that. So that game's gonna be at 7 instead of 8:30, which is gonna give us all but 2 games within the first 30 minutes of lock, and then we're chilling for 2.5 hours. Waiting on the West Coast games, the Warriors, Kings, and the Clippers and Lakers. And for those games, you know, we're going to be sweating the De'Aaron Fox news, the Marvin Bagley news, Otto Porter's questionable. And then the Lakers, it sounds like LeBron James is not going to play. It sounds like it. You might even expect him to be out until the All-Star break. I don't know. I don't know how to judge it. Nothing on AD, you know, potentially resting second night. But there's going to be a 2.5 hour gap. So some of the news that we're waiting on probably doesn't come to fruition at a convenient time, right? It's going to be like right after the 7:30 game locks. But yeah. What up, Shark Killer? Said, I ain't fishing today. F that. Oh, man. Danielle, will you get him a blanket, please? Yeah, she ain't trying to get out that bed. I promise you that. It's cold. It is cold, man. But yeah, I guess we'll head on into it. By the way, chat, we're doing Super Bowl squares. I literally think in the first day we sold half of them. So if you guys are planning on getting involved in that, you should probably hit me up before that gets out. If we fill the card up, maybe we'll run a second one. I don't know. I wanted to get them out early just so I didn't have to campaign on Super Bowl Sunday morning, because you know I'm looking forward to that day. But yeah, we only have a couple. We have about half left. So if you want some of that, hit me up on Twitter, or if you're in the Discord, get in on that. News to watch today via the old underdog. Shout out to J-Fan. Give them a follow if you haven't already. Trae Young, questionable. Zach LaVine, midday, questionable. DeJounte Murray, questionable. LeBron James, to be determined. Jimmy Butler, quote, plans to play. De'Aaron Fox, to be determined. Cade Cunningham, questionable. D'Angelo Russell, questionable. Kyle Lowry, questionable. We have seen him listed as probable, going through shoot around, but then game time decision. So a 6-game slate is giving us the full NBA DFS experience. We got some news for like the Pelicans next game, but for the most part, that's what we're dealing with today. And we're all playing from the same deck of cards. We just kind of looked at it with an abbreviated point of view for prop shopping. Hopefully, as we go deeper into these games, maybe some more props open up. And if you guys are keeping an eye on the PrizePicks side of things, hey, let me know if some lines open up. If you got some questions, throw them in chat. But as we go game by game, you know the drill. Hit up, drop your favorite nuggets from each game, your favorite play, stuff like that, and we'll try to chop it up. So, first game on the docket, I made sure to move it up in the spreadsheet. Spurs hosting the Miami Heat. Project starting 5 for the Heat. Kyle Lowry, maybe. Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Jimmy G buckets. PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo taking on DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Dougie McBuckets, Keldon Johnson, and Drew Eubanks. So Miami Heat list Butler, PJ Tucker, and I suppose now Kyle Lowry is officially questionable. We don't know for sure they're going to play. However, being that this is one of the now games at lock, we'll have that information likely in time to make our decisions and our ownerships appropriately. And then on the Spurs side, DeJounte Murray is listed as questionable. Jakob Poeltl is out. Keita Bates-Diop also out. And then Jock Landale is out. And, you know, maybe not somebody that is super significant, but I don't think it's insignificant for this situation, because he did represent, 17, 11, sometimes double-digit minutes as part of the crew behind Poeltl. So they're missing 2 centers here today. We're going to put Drew Eubanks in the starting lineup. I don't know that Pop will warm up too much on a guy like Thaddeus Young, Juancho Hernangomez, but something to watch here. The Spurs, a different look lineup. I'm not ever too enamored on picking on the Heat front court anyway, but very notable is DeJounte Murray could be out, and if he is out, it would spike usage and opportunity for Derek White. And it becomes kind of a hard to read a game for prop hunting. There was one of those, it was just like one of those spots where you felt like you didn't want to get here just because there's a lot of ifs, this, and that's right. Lowry, Butler, Adebayo on the court together could really stifle each other. Hero still in the mix, and there's obviously an outcome where they're all just kind of like average plays, especially at these prices for DFS. But for props, you didn't lean one way or the other. 6-game slate, maybe you feel like you have to make a decision here. And then on the Spurs side, you're never gonna love this spot against the Heat, but Derek White would be awfully cheap for the perceptual boost in minutes, usage, and opportunity here. So, Raj, I guess I'll start with you here. If the Heat throw out Lowry, Butler together, and Lowry's not on a minutes limit, he was out for personal reason. If he's not on a limit, I don't know that he would be. What do you do with this game?
I mean, San Antonio side, you're gonna have some value, especially if DeJounte Murray's out, Portal out. A guy like Drew Eubanks just gonna play minutes. Obviously, tough matchup with Bam Adebayo in there, and a kind of a fully healthy Heat team who should be elite defensively. But at 3,300, I just think he's gonna be a value guy who sees 25, possibly 30 minutes. Derek White seems to be an easy click if there's no DeJounte Murray. 6K again, even in a tough matchup. The usage, his usage is going to be 25% plus. The minutes will be there, 35 minutes plus. I like it. And then a guy like McDermott being out too, I think that's more kind of shot attempts for a Vassell or Lonnie Walker. One of those guys probably goes off this game and has to chuck quite a few shots. So I'm going to end up having quite a few of these Spurs guys. Keldon Johnson at 5,700. He'll get all the minutes he can handle here. It's just a spot that, again, not an amazing spot matchup wise, but minutes equal money and going to play these Spurs.
Yeah, putting Derek White on the court, DeJounte Murray, Jakob Poeltl off the court this season. Derek White is the proud owner of a 22% usage rate. That's actually lower than I thought it would be, but a 31% assist rate. So something to watch there. You might create some plays, and that might be a line to keep an eye on for prize picks purposes. Over on the Heat side, this was a exercise we did at the end of the Prize Picks stream that we do every day at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Lowry, Butler, Adebayo on the court together. Check this out. Lowry's usage rate 16%, but his assist percentage 27%. Butler's usage rate 25.7% usage rate from the Department of Redundancy department with a 21% assist rate. And then Adebayo's at a 27% usage rate with a 13% assist rate. So only 523 possessions there of sample size, but still enough to kind of push us towards a general guideline of how this team plays. And I think it's safe to say that Jimmy Butler isn't a guarantee smash at 9+K with Lowry in the mix, and Lowry being almost 0.8 Fanduel points per minute isn't necessarily a smash play either with Adebayo in the mix, but there is just a 6-game slate, and there's definitely meat on the bone for Lowry at 6,200 if we can convince ourselves or feel better by the time lock hits that he's not on any type of minutes limit. Still pretty sizable OU here, attackable game for spread wise, and the Heat are implied to put up some points here. So kind of want to get to some Heat here, but everyone's priced perhaps over where they should be for all three guys to be in on DraftKings, right? 8,400 for Adebayo. Yeah. I guess I'm still getting a solid projection on a 6-game slate for Adebayo, 40 plus fantasy points. Butler is the biggest concern for me. Him touching 95, 94. That's a down payment on.
I'm just gonna fade the Heat. I'm just not gonna play any Heat.
So looking at the center position, I do like Cat. Maybe with D-Russ, if D-Russ ended up playing, it'd be a little less bullish. I was going to say Butler's price is kind of a down payment on Anthony Davis, and that's probably where I would spend most of that.
DeMar DeRozan?
DeRozan possibly. Levine's on the fringe here. Adebayo is somebody I think I still might get behind just because of I'm getting 40 plus, and Jakob Poeltl is exponentially better on defense than likely any of his backups are. So I think the matchup will be fine for him. And then Adebayo's also one of those guys that doesn't chuck a lot of threes, man. He's going to score a lot of his points in the paint. And if we look at points in the paint allowed per game, with Poeltl, the San Antonio Spurs have allowed the third most points in the paint in the league. And I guess it could be better with Drew Eubanks, but I'm not expecting it to be better. So if we funnel some more scoring opportunities through Adebayo here, the metrics are pushing me to some Adebayo. I think that's what I'm settling on. So I'll end up with Adebayo no matter what. With Butler and Lowry, a 6-game slate. I mean, I guess it comes down to how many lineups you're running, but 6-game slate. I still think Butler has a range of outcomes where he's a top 3 fantasy scorer on the slate.
Like a 3-entry max. In the 3-entry max, I'm not getting to any heat. 20 lineups, I think a sprinkle is fine, but even then, I'm not getting a whole ton of heat.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to Lowry's status for me, and then Butler's status, right? I guess there's still a world where Butler would sit this game.
I mean, Lowry's just in fully.
He was initially reported as fully probable, right?
Yeah,
he went through a shoot around, and then afterwards, unless you're reading something that just came out, afterwards they relisted him as a game time decision to see how he feels. So, like, I think it's reasonable to expect him to be in, but yeah, there was a whole thing. You had to be there,
yeah.
Anyway, let's get caught up on chat. I think I'm more inclined to get to some Adebayo no matter what, but yeah. Let's get caught up on chat here. Everyone hates Chris says, I wanted to play Bam, but now Larry and Jimmy are in. I still think Larry and Jimmy are enough setup guys for Bam that I wouldn't abandon Bam here. Eubanks, Day, or Thad. Yeah, so on the Spurs side, if you're just looking for value and you believe in minutes equal money, Drew Eubanks on DraftKings 3,300, maybe Hernan Gomez, maybe Thad Young. If I can help it, I'd rather just sell out for the ceiling at the center position. Right? Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, guys like that. So I probably don't dabble in a tougher matchup. Miami Heat, one of the worst matchups you can ask for. From a DFS standpoint, if you look at fantasy points allowed to the center position, Miami allows the fewest. And then we mentioned points in the paint allowed, while San Antonio allows the top 3. Miami allows the fewest real points in the paint. So it's never gonna be a great matchup, but yeah, minutes could equal money for inefficient price players. So I wouldn't talk you off of it, but I think I'm gonna rather pay up at center, get some of the high raw points, and just kind of not spin the wheel, make a deal on these lower price guys. Shark Killer says, I went to start my car to give the radiator engine some heat, but I literally can't open one door. Yeah, it's just iced over. Shark, man.
Y'all just staying used to it.
It's something like nah. All my homies, we got a lot of homies in Texas, man. If you guys are out here, guys, don't go out there, man. Settle in,
guys. It's a little snow and cold. It's not. I got buddies out here playing hockey in shorts outside. Hey, come on now.
Yeah, okay, I decided to live in the North Pole. Don't call me in August when you have 90-degree temperatures and we're out here cooking eggs on the sidewalk. Okay. It's hot. I mean, it's pretty hot out here too. Miss me with that nonsense, man. Every year, Texas gets made fun of when it's cold, and it's just like, oh yeah, keep that same energy in August when
you act like we don't have warm weather. We get a shit ton of warm weather.
Yeah, and you cry about it.
No, we don't cry about it. Who cries about warm weather,
bruh? I'm warm weather, right? Warm weather. How about 110 degrees? How often are you getting that?
We'll get to most we'll get to probably like 35 degrees.
That's not even a real
95.
No one uses Celsius.
Okay, so we'll get to 95.
95 is nothing. Nothing. That's what I'm saying. We can flip it anyway. Bam, we see you, Danny. Yeah, me and Mort. Any chance Keldon starts and they go small? I guess that's possible. I don't know that would be super fruitful against Adebayo. I feel like you would at least want to throw some size out there and rotate some Eubanks and Wancho and Thad Young. They seem really out on Thad Young. I thought I was hearing like disgruntled trade requests and stuff from Thad, even though like earlier this year he was getting some run and being like really efficient for fantasy. But I don't know that I would expect that against this lineup, but I guess it's not impossible. But if McDermott was out, you might see Devin Vassell or Lonnie Walker in, and then if DeJounte Murray's out, I don't know that they can afford to you know do
Yeah,
that.
if Murray's out or McDermott's out, like I could be happy with 4 Spurs in a lineup.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm looking at Derek White. I'm looking at Vassell. I'm looking at Eubanks. I'm looking at Keldon Johnson. They're just so cheap. I mean,
you would not
Eubanks,
put 4 Spurs in a fantasy lineup tonight
100%.
against the Heat.
I literally have it in my dummy lineup right now. Yeah, you get your studs.
Raj, I will gladly so you're saying if DeJounte's out, you're in on 4 because I'm about to take your money.
I mean, right now, I mean, we could. I'm trying. I mean,
It's
like
the
right now,
Heat,
my dummy
bro. I
lineup.
mean, it's
And that's what I'm
literally.
saying. That's the only worry. The only worry is the matchup. But
Uh,
we've seen it before. Like occasionally, these bench guys, they keep it competitive. Run. It could be a high. Even if the Spurs score 110 points, 105 points, I think 4 Spurs in the lineup is perfectly fine.
Otto Porter just got ruled out. All right, good to know.
Yeah.
So I guess on Prize Picks, you might jump on some quick Wiggins PRA. I think we were already on that, so it looks good. Otto Porter now out. So what up, C Wiz, Dave King, Jared Jones says I'm from Buffalo but I'm in Dallas now. Heck nah, it's cold out here. So there's people saying, man. People just look at the temperature. It's a little different. It's also different when like your area is just not prepared for it, right? We don't have snow plows and ice and salt trucks and all that crap, and these people ain't used to it. It's just it is what it is. Don't brag because your lakes freeze over and you guys live in igloos, right?
We ain't
I
living in no igloos.
I Yo, I'm gonna start using a toothpick, right? I'm gonna be the Razor Ramon of DFS. Hey yo, I've always wanted to do that. All right. T Wolves at the Pistons. Project starting 5 for the T Wolves. Patrick Beverly, D'Angelo Russell crossing over with Anthony Edwards, Jared Vanderbilt, and Carl Anthony Towns, the Big Cat. Ernie Ladd taking on Corey Joseph, Cade Cunningham, maybe Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Isaiah Stewart. We got 229 total, 7-point spread for the visiting Minnesota Timberwolves. We have to check out the news and notes on D'Angelo Russell and Patrick Beverly and Cade Cunningham. So let's start with Minnesota here and look at D Russ. D Russ is listed as questionable with left shin contusion. Patrick Beverly, right ankle sprain, also questionable. D'Lo has been kept on the sidelines for 3 straight games and has a chance to miss his 4th straight. Meanwhile, Patrick Beverly did play Tuesday night, but he only played 15 minutes. Was also in foul trouble. Josh Okogie and Leandro Balmero also listed as questionable. So a couple of strings to tie together. I think D-Russ is really the biggest cause for concern here. If he doesn't play, we would boost our interest and our confidence behind Carthy Towns. I want to say confidence behind Anthony Edwards, but he's coming off, 5 real points, something like that, when the team scored 130. But Cat seems like one of those aforementioned pay up for center spots against a Pistons team that I don't mind picking on really with any position, but we know that Cat's usage will kind of be up there, and his per minute production is a little bit more stable than Anthony Edwards, as he has a propensity to disappear. So let's look at the. I always forget to turn Slack off, but what are you gonna do? Let's look at the T-Wolves here and put Russell off the court. Let's put Towns. I'm not gonna mess with Beverly too much, although I guess Malik Beasley could come in and kind of troll. But I'm gonna put Anthony Edwards on the court and take off D. Russ, and just kind of look at the numbers that we do get. What up, Big Bino? What up, dang lazy mofo? Hey yo. We've got a 26% usage rate on Cat, 29% for Edwards. Cat's averaging 1.3 fantasy points per minute on both sides. Edwards 1.17, 1.14. Both guys sharing a 20% assist rate. So does feel like Cat's a little bit more solid play when it comes to just stable minutes and production. But Anthony Edwards shouldn't be forgotten about. So we're keeping an eye on that. D'Angelo Russell, if you're taking notes, asterisk next to him. And then Patrick Beverly. Beverly could play, right? I do think he benefits in the absence of D-Russ as well. You might see him hit his assist prop even in 15 minutes. He had 5 fouls in 15 minutes. So probably a good indication that, unless he aggravated something. I feel like he would be a little bit closer to the inside than the outside, and the outside is not where you want to be right now. So if he were to be in, looking at this on-off court tool with Beverly in the mix, Beverly has a 29% assist rate. So I bet you could probably get a pretty positive number on him, maybe on PrizePicks, if you wanted to attack him if he was ruled in and D'Angelo Russell was ruled out. Beverly is not on the board, so something to keep an eye on. He is just 5,300 on FanDuel, 48 on DK. And then on the Pistons side, Cade Cunningham is listed as questionable. And they just don't stay healthy, right? They get Jeremy Grant back, and then Cade Cunningham is becoming a question mark. But if Cunningham doesn't go, it would boost our confidence in a guy like Jeremy Grant here. Even though his matchup might be a little tough, crossing over with Vanderbilt and Taron Prince, who popped in that last game. Cade Cunningham, right hit pointer, is being deemed questionable. He suffered the injury in Tuesday's loss to the Pelicans, a contest in which he only played 21 minutes before being ruled out. The fact that he didn't receive a, quote, doubtful tag off the bat is good news, but there's no reason to rush him back if he's not ready. So seems like it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe prepare some thoughts for him to be ruled out. If he was ruled out, you'd probably see Ham Diallo maybe inserted back into the starting lineup. I guess there's a world where one of the Jacksons got in there. But Ham Diallo has been a guy that we've seen start this year when they were down bad, right? When Jeremy Grant was out. So maybe that would be the case here. I guess there's also a lineup where Grant maybe moves to the 3 and Bay to the 2, but I would probably expect Diallo at the 2 from now. And Diallo's 4,400 on DraftKings, so he might be primed to be a pretty solid value play from this far out. And then if we look at that on-off court tool and we pull up the Detroit Pistons, take off Cade Cunningham, put on Jeremy Grant, we might get some numbers that push us towards believe it in Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant has a usage rate of 25% in this split. Saddiq Bey 20%. And nobody is at a fantasy point per minute outside of Kelly Olynyk. He's just different. Raj, what would you do with this game? I say we plan for D-Russ and Cade Cunningham to both be out, but D-Russ is in the air.
Yeah, so I mean, if D-Russ is out, I think Anthony Edwards and Cat, kind of tier 2 plays. Edward probably has a little more meat on the bone at the 8K price tag coming off of his dud of a game. I expect a rebound here against the Detroit team that can't stop anyone. Gotta love Cat, even though you're going to pay for him at 10K. He's just smashing the spot against Kelly Olynyk and Isaiah Stewart. Detroit side, I mean, they just have everyone essentially back. I mean, if Cade Cunningham sits, then I think there's some room on guys like a guy like Jeremy Grant, who I could see, maybe getting a few more assists or peripherals here. Other than that, I probably don't get to a guy like Corey Joseph or Killian Hayes, even if Cade Cunningham is out.
Yeah, Jeremy Grant is pretty cheap too. Saddiq Bey as well, 6K, 6,200.
Yeah.
So while they are fully healthy, quote unquote, it's not like a situation where we got to wait for them to go from 8K players to 6K players. They are 6K players now, and Cade Cunningham does represent quite a bit of usage, 15 real points to compensate for, and probably 25-30% usage rate while he's out there. So I'm a little bit more inclined to get on some Pistons here. I'm worried about how bad the Pistons are as a team, kind of a Thunder situation where on the season the Detroit Pistons have an offensive efficiency of 103.2 points per 100 possessions behind just the Thunder. And like the Thunder, missing Cade Cunningham, arguably their best player, is that possible to go down, right? Do they become a worse team than they already are? It's just pretty doggone bad. So something to keep an eye on. The T-Wolves, last couple games here, we have seen some minute spikes and really some tournament games from guys like Torrin Prince, who played a big chunk of minutes in the first half of the last T-Wolves game, so something to keep an eye on. Jaden McDaniels did start that game in lieu of D'Angelo Russell. Prince played 24 minutes, was very, very impactful in those minutes, and Jared Vanderbilt played just 18 minutes, but he was also somebody that put up a lot of fantasy points. That game got lopsided, but Taron Prince was both part of the active rotation and then part of the mop up crew to start the second half. Is Tarn Prince just in front of our face, playing 24 minutes a game here, being extra efficient? Is he somebody that we should involve in our value pool? And the last three matchups, for what it's worth, at Denver, Utah, Phoenix, on paper, a little tougher defensively, and he's just kind of filling the stat sheet out. I think 4,400 on a 6-game slate. If the world's going to forget about the guy who can define rebounds better than anybody.
I mean, it's interesting, but I'd rather just play Devin Vassell or Lonnie Walker at that same price point.
I feel like first of all, it's Devin Vassell. Secondly, Lonnie Walker, Devin Vassell are like always chalk and never good plays. Like I feel
I
like
mean,
the
I'm saying,
success
this
rate
how one of them
versus
probably come through.
and you're basically saying you'd rather depend on scoring dependent guys against the toughest defense in the league versus a guy like Torrent Prince who is facing the Pistons. I don't know.
They're gonna get more minutes, and I think their usage will be a little higher. I mean, the
what?
8 for
No,
12 is a little fake. I just think the 8
I,
for 12 is a little fake.
I'm not playing. I mean, yes, that is fake, but I'm not necessarily playing Torrent Prince for usage. He's getting your hustle stats, right? So I don't know if a coach is still down, I can get behind Prince here. So something to keep an eye on. I think he on the 6-game stay. I'm looking for a couple nuggets to get me a little different. And Tarn Prince is somebody that I think I can get to 20 plus. But yeah, Vassell and Lonnie Walker, man.
I'll take Vassell and Lonnie Walker
I don't.
over.
I literally like Chad. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember a slate where they were chalk and they were the right play. Like they always pop when no one's on them. Like I
want to put some green behind it.
On Devin Vassell and Lonnie Walker. Like what? Why are you? First of all, are you just expecting DeJounte to be out?
I expect DeJounte, to be out.
And that's the only linchpin.
No, it's just like I mean, he's going to be out. No Podol. I just think they're going to have to carry a bit of a scoring load. One of those two definitely outscores Prince today.
I'm not taking a 2v1, but if you pick one of those guys, I'll coin flip you.
So tough. Which one?
Oh, now it's different. Yeah. Okay,
I mean, one is it's just. Do I pick the starter or the guy that comes off the bench? That's another one.
I mean, they both probably come off the bench. Right. So my early projection has Devin Vassell scoring more than Tarn Prince and Lonnie Walker, but I'm just saying.
Vassell is definitely a little more consistent than Lonnie Walker.
Prince once in a lifetime game. Hey man, Prince was a little solid when he gets some run for Brooklyn and Atlanta, but again, he's a peripheral guy. I'm not playing it for the real points. That was fake. I'm telling you that was fake. But the peripherals could be there against the Detroit Pistons that are a really bad defense, and plenty of reason to get him involved there down low. And Prince might play a little bit of mop up as well. So I'm just saying, throwing it out there as a potential value play on a 6-game slate to get a little different. Walker and Vassell are actually good players, though. That's not the debate here. Also, Tarn Prince is a great player. Like Tarn Prince is fine. He's fine.
I think they're all similar players in terms of like
maybe
talent. Yeah.
Towns assist on PrizePicks if D'Lo is out. Yeah, I could get behind it. I think a lot of stuff boosts there. I would also like Beverly to be out. What up, Patrick Reed? I think I already shouted you out. Yo, by the way, Ken Price. I think you follow either on an intro or an outro, but thank you for following or subbing to the channel. Monk was a bust last night. Yeah, Monk let a lot of people down. The Lakers really let it. It was AD and Carmelo, and that was basically it. Like Westbrook didn't kill you on FanDuel, and on DK you would have liked him to get that triple-double, but yeah. Play one or the other, not both the same. Yeah, I hate playing Walker and Vassell a dud every time. See, Callie, you get what I'm saying. I definitely am not discrediting their validity as plays tonight, but it just seems like a couple times a month, Devin Vassell and Lonnie Walker are like chalk value plays, and it just it never works. I don't know. But when you're not on them, right? That's when you look up and Lonnie Walker has 30 or Devin Vassell has 30. Like last game against Golden State, right? Little lopsided, and Vassell goes out there and drops 36. So definitely will have them in my player pool, but Raj just likes to create friction in weird spots where I was just mentioning him as a value play. Isaiah Stewart, about 5K on both sides. I'm getting about a point per minute on a 26-minute projection. Same with Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey, if Cade Cunningham was out, I look at Sadiq Bey and Ham Diallo a little bit more for scoring and kind of wedge between them and kind of rotate my exposure here. But nothing I'm driving home without D'Angelo Russell news. Hey. Yo, Willie says Isaiah Jackson. Oh, 12 seconds. Dude, that hurt. That
Yeah.
hurt, man. Gabriel 0207. Appreciate that sub, man. Welcome to the channel. Yo, what's good? Guns up, Raj. If Cade is out, is Diallo and Jackson in play? You mean Josh Jackson or Frank Jackson? Either
I'm not
or.
running to it.
Yeah, either or become volatile.
Yeah.
I would assume whoever started would probably be the guy that I trust the most for minutes here. Josh Jackson, has a wide range of outcomes for his minutes. Same with Frank Jackson. I would expect Ham Diallo to kind of like be the beneficiary and be inserted into that starting lineup. In which case, I would be looking at Ham Diallo for sure at 4,400.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, he is in play. AD's now a game time decision. I was a little bit worried about the back to back on that. So.
I thought I saw him.
So the news we got was Otto Porter out, LeBron James doubtful, AD is listed as probable.
Probable, yeah. So I read probable. So that question was probable.
Okay, and then Malik Monk listed as probable. Somebody keep an eye.
Lakers can't really afford to lose games right now, so.
Yeah, Gun. What did you think of New Jack and ECW? Good wrestling or nonsense? Even though New Jack is no longer with us, I will never. His spirit might show up and stab me, man. I'm not. I love listening to New Jack shoot interviews. I don't remember much of his wrestling matches other than him just like jumping off of high stages and stuff. But I like DCW, so I'm not a hater of any style of wrestling. Phoenix Suns at the Atlanta Hawks project 35 for the Suns. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton taking on Trae Young, maybe. Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. We got 226 total. 4-point spread in favor of the visiting Phoenix Suns. Plenty of news to get caught up on here. Let me refresh the depth chart page here. Trae Young's probably the biggest piece of news. But a 4-point spread maybe leans us in a certain direction. Trae Young missed his last game against Toronto. And the Phoenix Suns recently with DeAndre Ayton back in the mix. So I think the Suns are fully healthy. I'm pretty sure on the PrizePicks stream, we had Crowder and Ayton probable, yes. And then the news to watch is Trae Young. If Trae Young can go, he's obviously going to be a big part of this offense's success or lack thereof. A lot of times, representing up to 30 points and 10 plus assists. He's dealing with right shoulder contusion. He was warming up before last game, didn't play. Says he didn't take any contact in Wednesday's practice, but he has been getting his shots up for the last 2 straight practices. If he ends up sitting a second straight game, DeLon Wright will be a solid streaming on, blah, blah, blah. So that's for season long. But something to keep an eye on here, because if Trae Young did not play, it might actually make the Hawks defense a little bit better, but it also makes this game feel like it wouldn't be as close just because the Hawks offense likely relies on Trae Young to do a lot. Maybe there's I don't know, maybe we can get Atlanta Hawks offensive rating without Trae Young this season. Let's see what kind of obscure number we end up with. We get 105. So 105 would not be what you want. Matter of fact, 105, we look at the NBA, 105 would be good for 5th worst in the league. So it wouldn't be what you want, and some of that might be considering like Cam Reddish and stuff like that. So I would really like Trae Young to be in to attack this game for fantasy, but especially for some props. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, when they're fully healthy. Chris Paul's the assist guy, Ayton's the usage guy, and then DeAndre Ayton does what he does. We did the numbers earlier, but I'll do them again since we got plenty of time today. We put them all on the court together. I believe it was Booker with like a 30% usage and Chris Paul with like a 30-40% assist rate, and then Ayton was just the center getting all of the point per minute production. Ayton becomes the most volatile, I think, in minutes because Javon McGee, Bismack Biyombo behind him earned their kind of keep here. But yeah, 41% assist rate for Chris Paul with these 3 on the court, a 30% usage rate for Devin Booker, and Ayton's just there, 20% usage rate and averaging the most fantasy points per minute, and as centers will do with their peripherals being higher, right? More rebounds, more blocks, stuff like that. Why would I like Chris Paul, Devin Booker a little bit more here If Trae Young was in, one, Trae Young's defensive efforts are, give us an area of opportunity for improvement on the Hawks side, and it's just something we'd rather pick on. And then also, unlike DeAndre Ayton, who has several backups to kind of spell him as he works his way back to full NBA conditioning, Chris Paul and Devin Booker don't really have backups right now. Their immediate backups, Cameron Payne and Landry Shamet, are listed as out. Cameron Payne has missed quite a stretch of games, and in the 4 or 5 games since, Chris Paul has been pushing 40 minutes a game, 39 against Brooklyn, 40 against San Antonio, 37, 37, 40, 41. He's playing some of the most minutes that we've ever seen him play in his career, and especially staggering how late in his career that he is playing him, and how good of a matchup this would be if he were to get another opportunity at 30, 40, or 38, 39, 40 minutes. The Atlanta Hawks with Trae Young turn that offense up to one of the top offenses in the league. They have the second best offensive rating, while also sustaining a bottom 4 defensive rating. So a little bit Charlotte Hornet-esque, where their offense is good, their defense is not, which would give us plenty of implied possessions and minutes to take advantage of Chris Paul and Devin Booker to really thrive here. And this 4-point spread gives me hope that, one, Trae Young could be in, and two, the Suns would be attackable in everything. Raj, what do you do with the Suns here? I'm very close to, I don't know that I tier 1 Chris Paul, but the minutes and involvement that he has implied right now is so good that I think Chris Paul is liable to be one of my highest owned players today on this 6-gamer. What are your plans for this game, if any? And I guess, what do you do if Trae Young's in?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris Paul and even Devin Booker are definitely in play here. Both of them, Devin Booker dropped 58 on him last time. Chris Paul a 50 bomb. Probably do have the edge to Chris Paul, guys, because I think Ayton takes away a little more from Booker than Chris Paul. Chris Paul should definitely get double-digit assists in the spot. Um, 15 to 20 real life points, couple peripherals. I like it for his price. DeAndre Ayton at 7'4". He's questionable. He's probable. He's intriguing at 7'4". I think there's some meat on the bone there. He can always give you a 40, 50-point game, but he also has a floor of 20, 25 fantasy points. So I think it's interesting tournaments at 7'4". On the Atlanta side, if Trae Young is in, I'm going to play him. I think at 9-9, he could break the slate here. It is a technically a good defensive Suns team, but they play at a really fast pace, so this should be, game stays close, should be a high scoring game. Actually, the Atlanta Hawks putting 110, 120 real life points here. So if Trae Young plays, I want to give all of that. If he doesn't play, then the blowout is a little bit of a risk. So guys like Kevin Herter. So I think if he doesn't play, the debate between whether I want the Spurs value or the Atlanta value is an intriguing one, like a Herter versus Vassell.
Stop saying
Jo-
Vassal.
Sorry, Vassell. Um, yeah, so I think I think I'm leaning Spurs, but I get playing the Atlanta guys if Trae Young is out.
Kevin Herter on the court, Trae Young off the court, has a 23% usage rate, 0.89 DKP per minute, 22% assist rate. DeLon Wright has a near 30% assist rate. Remember, no Cam Reddish here to improve that a little bit more. No Lou Williams as well. So maybe you get some attackable props here. Kind of in agreement.
Pella's 5'9". I just want to say, like, that's so cheap. I know he's been playing bad, but it's just so cheap for Capella. I
Yeah.
think it's just cheap as he's been all year.
Yeah, they've been spreading the minutes between him and like a Kongwu.
Mhm.
And I also think that Capella is one of those guys that's such a limited offense that he really
Yeah,
needs Trae Young to play to
for sure.
be in the mix. Matter of fact, let's see if we can quantify that statement since we have some time. Trae Young, Capella. But I do agree, like that's a really cheap price point for Capella, who might get there in blocks and rebounds. So
Right.
Capella with Trae Young on the court, over a fantasy point per minute, almost 1.2. Capella on the court with Trae Young off the court. Moves him to a stalling to a 1. So he loses a decent chunk of fantasy points. Still implied for like 1. So I guess that would come down to your minute projection. I got it for 24 minutes, which is spitting back nearly 30 fantasy points based on Trae Young being in. But if Trae Young were to be out, I think that would be closer to 25 fantasy points, more of a point per minute expectation. But if we look at the last couple games rotationally for the Atlanta Hawks, Toronto Raptors, Capella played 23 minutes, did not close that game. They went Gallinari and Okongwu. And then against the Lakers, Capella also did not close that game. Okongwu closed again. That might have been a little bit more of a garbage crew here. Not Trae Young closed that one out. Against the Celtics, Trae Young, Capella also barely played in the fourth quarter. So maybe something to keep an eye on. And maybe, I don't know, if you wanted some edge here, maybe it looks like Capella's more live to play first half. So if some of these half props are splitting full game props down the middle, maybe Capella has more of an edge in the first half. And they have him at 4.5 real points in the first half with 13.5 fantasy points in the first half. So maybe the fantasy points is something to get some action on if you think he's liable to get benched down the stretch for a Okongwu again. And I think that's very possible. And if you remember, Capella in years past, also one of those guys that was not very good at free throw shooting. So I would assume it's also something to do with that, right? You get into hack-a-shack levels of picking on a center, and then they become a liability. And Chris Paul, he's an evil mastermind. He'll know that. So maybe first half Capella props is the way to go on that, right? Paul has been pushing P. Let's go. All right, let's move on to the next game. Chicago Bulls at the Toronto Raptors. Project 25 for the Bulls. Ayo Dosunmu, Zach LaVine, Javonte Green, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic taking on Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. We got 2-2-2 and another one, 2 as our total. 3.5 point spread in favor of Toronto Raptors. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Raj, Canada's open, right? We got fans in the stands.
Yes, sir. Yes, we do. Drake was in the stands. I don't know if you saw the meme. Oh man, so they got Drake was watching the game with Messiah the other day. It's still like half, and he was just in the crowd beside Messiah, beside no one else. And he was going through his phone, and they caught his face. And the guy went. I don't know if you could play it. It's on Instagram and Twitter. He took that image in that video while Drake was sliding the phone, and then he turned it and he put like Rihanna's photos in the phone while playing Marvin's Room. Oh man, I'll put it in the Discord.
I definitely can't play it if it has Marvin's Room in the background.
Oh, true, yeah. Oh, it's so hilarious. It's so
poor Drake.
I had to do my boy dirty. What are you gonna do?
Anyway, today Zach LaVine was downgraded to a midday questionable, joining a list of injury ins and outs where we have Lonzo Ball out, Alex Caruso out, and if LaVine follows this trend of midday Qs being closer to out than in, they might insert a guy like Kobe White into the starting lineup. They might move DeRozan up a bit. You might get Troy Brown. There's several ways that they can go. You might expect them to want some depth at the guard position to keep Kobe White, kind of coming off the bench, but it does bode well for potentially DeRozan coming back to Toronto, having one of those emotionally charged performances where he just goes off, and he's going off in tough matchups, good matchups, all in between, averaging over 26 real points a game on the year. So let's go pull up the Chicago Bulls on NBA Valley. Free tool via Add More Funds. They have a paid one too. If you guys want access to that, you want to check it out, try it out for your research, ! AMF in the chat. So players off the court here. Let's put Lonzo, let's put Caruso, and then Zacharias Leviticus, taking him out and putting on DeRozan. My feet are so cold. DeRozan has a 36% usage rate in the split with a 28% assist rate. Over $1.25 per minute production for fantasy. So it just looks really good to get behind the narrative here. Now he's really, really going to cost you. 9,400 on Fanduel, 9,200 on DraftKings. I, right now, assuming LaVine was in, am getting mid-40s as his projection. But Raj, do you have some fun narrative clicks behind DeRozan today? And then Vucevic would also benefit in this split as well. he would be averaging over $1.25 fantasy point per minute with 26% usage rate. Tougher matchup perceptually. The Raptors pretty good defense up in the front court and limit points in the paint, but Vucevic can stretch it out a little bit. I feel like DeRozan and Vucevic would be the more obvious go-tos. Ayo Dosunmu's been, ironically, I was looking at the most bet props earlier today. His over 4.5 assists is the most bet prop, the second most best bet prop, and his under 4.5 assists is like the fourth most bet prop from a couple hours ago. So the world
Wow.
is torn on what to do with Ayo. But if Levine is out, I think it does spell a little bit more opportunity for him. And then the other thing was Gary Trent Jr. Over 18.5 real points was the most popular bet for props here. So talk to me about DeRozan back in Toronto, and then is Gary Trent fake AF or nah?
I mean, Gary Trent is better than Chris Middleton and a bunch of other guys, right? I don't know if you saw that, a statement by an NBA exec.
For a
He's on
second,
a streak.
for a second, I thought that was your take, and I was like in my
Oh
head,
no, I
like, do I
gotta.
want to do this? Do I want to do this? And I was like,
Oh
nah,
no,
nah,
no, it's just a couple other players were listed too, kind of a lead. I was like, wow, okay, it's like better than CJ McCollum and stuff too. But yeah, so Gary Trent's just on a roll right now. I'm going to play him against the Chicago defense. Even at 6K, if he has a quote unquote down game, I think his down game is still 30 fantasy points. So at 6-1, he's going to play 40 minutes every game because that's just what he does. Um, I like the upside here. Give me all the Gary Trent. You mentioned DeRozan. You mentioned Vucevic. If Levine is out, I'm locking both of them in as tier ones. It's going to be their show. This game's going to stay close. It's going to be behind them. So I like that. Um, Sumu, I like too. If Levine is out at 5-6, not the best price tag, but you see the minutes. He's seeing 35 plus minutes essentially every game. I think it'll be a good 30, 35 point fantasy spot. I'll take that. And the Raptor side, I think, you know, I like Gary Trent. And then, Van Vliet and Siakam interesting. Van Vliet at 8H just a tough price tag to get to in today's slate. They're just other guys who I think are in slightly better spots. But I don't think he ever kills your lineup. I think he'd be good for 40 plus here. And same with Siakam at 9K. He's gonna have to outscore a couple of these other 9K guys, but I think he's good for 40 minutes and 45 DKP as a floor.
Yeah, Gary Trent definitely a talk of a lot of prop controversy today. He made it happen. I did see that. I saw that. A matter of fact, we acknowledged it on the air on the last show. The most popular bet was Gary Trent over 18.5 points, and then PrizePicks had him at 20. I was thinking if I wanted to get some action on Gary Trent to maybe target his 3-point shooting, I think his line was at 3.5. 10, 11 of his shots are going to be via the 3 ball. I'm expecting regression sooner or later. I am, but I do
Maybe
think,
he's just really good. Maybe he's better than Klay Thompson.
or maybe it's a 5-game hot streak that players tend to go
That's too.
on. But it's
That's too.
also like, again, every time I go through this, it comes off like I'm discrediting Gary Trent. First of all these guys are live to play 40 minutes. Nick Nurse is just driving these guys at their limits. But I mean, just looking at the last couple games, there was a pair of games with no Van Vliet. There was a triple overtime game. There was the Atlanta Hawks, who just suck, and then the Miami Heat, where this was ultimate Gary Trent game script. Miami Heat are a funnel defense, right? We look at their points in the paint allowed. Miami Heat allow the fewest points in the paint. So what happens in response to that? Well, they give up the third most points via the 3 ball, right? You need jump shooters to get the ball in the bucket. So he's running good in the sense that a triple overtime game, some games without Van Vliet, playing 40 minutes, all that stuff is there. But with all that said, like the 30 real points, him dropping 40, 50 fantasy points, that's not even needed at DraftKings at 6,100. You just get over 30 fantasy points. There's a world he gets that on 15 to 18 real points. So I think for fantasy, he's still very much a play for me at 6,100. But I think that the debate on Gary Trent today is whether or not he's gonna break 20 real points, if he's gonna hit 5 threes. So I think all that's is fairly up for debate. But I also think I'm watching a lot of people maybe misconstrue this hot streak and not give it context and not realize that he has benefited from some pretty positive game script, game environments, and matchups. So I am expecting Gary Trent not to score 30 points a game every night going forward. But in this spot at 6,100, I got him for 35 DraftKings fantasy points. I'll take that. I will take that on a 6-game slate. So I like Gary Trent to fantasy play tonight, but definitely there's some merit in debating whether or not he's going to score all of the real points, because I think as matchups become a little bit more positive, and the Bulls have been a matchup that has been favorable to front courts this season, being largely undersized. There's going to be games where Scotty Barnes says, hey, remember me, or Pascal Siakam drops 20 plus real points, right? Gary Trent's success is coming at other people's unsuccess, I guess you would say, when it comes to real points. So I don't know. I say all that to say this. I do like Gary Trent on DraftKings tonight, 6,100. I like all the Raptors on the 6-game slate because 39, 41, 37, 38 minutes, Nick Nurse is just letting him go. Even though he put out some quotes out there saying he'd like to get to a 10-man rotation, he hasn't put some action on those statements yet. So up until then, I'm just gonna have to lean on the Raptors. What I've been doing is putting every single Raptor as tier 3, spinning it there. I think tonight I'll do the same with Gary Trent at 6,100, more liable to be like tier 2, potentially tier 1, but more liable to be tier 2. And then we'll wait on this Zach LaVine news. I definitely think LaVine will push a lot. If LaVine is out, Dosunmu props look good. His fantasy viability looks good. And then maybe some Kobe White enters the chat here. Let's get caught up on chat. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to David Correa. Valdo says, if Young plays, would he be a better play than Booker and Paul at the guard position based on how low ownership due to the tag? I mean, if you're just playing the ownership and trying to leverage that, that looks good. I still love Chris Paul and Devin Booker just because of how many minutes they're playing. So if Young plays, I think it would set that game up better for it to be competitive. And Chris Paul and Devin Booker's minutes would probably be more meaningful, especially down the stretch. But I like where your head's at. I think leverage for Trae Young versus the field. If you think Trae Young has a range of outcomes where he's the number 1 fantasy scorer on the slate or top 3 on a 6-game slate, you should probably get to some of them, especially if he's going to project a low owned, which he probably will. So I don't mind that. What up, Jason Hollins? Says, Gun, sorry I'm late. What props you liking today? Man, I've kind of talked myself in on that Capella first half fantasy points, but I really feel better about that if Trae Young was in. Looking at his last couple games, they've been closing with a Kongwu. I'm starting to think I'll talk to my boy Cam, but I'm starting to think maybe that has to do with his inefficient free throw shooting, and maybe they just prefer a Kongwu down the stretch. So maybe his first half prop looks good there. Was on Klay Thompson's over threes, and now I like it a little bit more with Otto Porter rolled out. A little bit more offense isolated to the guards and the wing there. So definitely am behind that. Some of these other spots I was waiting on definitive news, like the LaVine situation. DeRozan is pretty expensive on the prop market today. Maybe assists rate stays low enough that I can get behind and attack it. They changed Gary Trent. Yeah, I see that. What up, Sean? Fading Van Fleet, the sumo top rated on ball defender in the league. Maybe. Like, I don't disagree with that, but sure. Van Vliet just plays 40 minutes. Like 40 minutes is 40 minutes, right? I'm not going to overthink it, especially with Van Vliet also being a guy that gets you the assists, the rebounds, and the peripherals, almost over 2 stocks a game implied. So I wouldn't overthink individual defense. It's not like Chris Harris Jr., right? It's not shadowed. Trent just need the opportunity. He's not going to fall off, but he's more like 22 real points a game. I still think he's like 18 to 20 real points a game, but there's a lot going his way. Like on top of a stretch for no Van Vliet and some positive matchups, it's also just playing 40 minutes, right? You're just going to have career highs and a lot of purrs and it's a good stretch here. So on a normal team where if he's playing 34 minutes, it's gonna go down a little bit. Who's the best small forward on the slate tonight? Is DeRozan
Best
small forward?
power forward, at least power forward.
Okay.
Small forward is going to have to be probably Edwards.
Edwards has a case with if D-Russ is out. I think Andrew Wiggins has been killing it ever since making the All-Star team, and the minutes have been deep for him. So without Otto Porter, a little bit more offense going his way if they do start like a Kuminga or move him to the 4. I've seen where
his blocks and steals have been nuts.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Wiggins here in this upcoming game, but it looks like I wouldn't hate the thought of Wiggins point per minute or point per dollar viability. We got 51 likes over 200 viewers. Set. Let's be great. Let's be great, man. Can we just get like a like wave here? If everyone watching right now can move 50 to 100 and just we all see it with our own eyes, it'll be like Gary Trent scoreboard tonight, right? So everyone hit that thumbs up. Let's move that 51 to 100 and let's be great, man. Let's be great. K. John says you don't fade anyone that shoots 40 times a game. Give me Fred VanVleet. Yeah, you're over analyzing. I think you're under analyzing. What? You wouldn't fade. So like Derek White was somebody a couple of weeks ago. He had basically the stats you were on, right? He was one of the best rated on ball defenders in the league, and in comes Devin Booker to drop 60 fantasy points, right? Usage sometimes just trumps spots, and individual defense is only worth so much in today's game where you have so much like screens, pick and rolls, like moving screen like this. It's kind of easy to get off of isolation basketball. And you just start passing the ball around. So on top of that, on top of the Raptors playing 40 minutes a game, I don't really think I would let one guy move me away from getting 40 minutes of tying for team high usage. So I think you're under analyzing it. You're being a little bit lazy, right? Kiefer Easterling said, I think Paul's minutes are going to start going down. He's going to start resting. Maybe Kiefer, but it's immediately correlated with no campaign, no Landry Shamet. So I agree with you in the sense that I think his minutes go down. They don't want him to be a 40-minute a game player, but right now they're just having fun dominating. And as long as Cameron Payne is out, I think he's liable to play 40 minutes as long as the game is competitive. So if Trae Young was out and this game got lopsided, definitely wouldn't stun me if he took a little bit of break and maybe like Elfrid Payton close out or something like that. But I think there's a justification for the minutes right now. I don't think he's playing it just to play it. I just think they don't trust Elfrid Payton, and Cameron Payne and Landry Shamet are sorely missed. So 68 likes. All right, we got 18 likes out of that. Not bad. What up, Neo? Shout out to Neo. I met on Gary Trent.
Shout out Neo. Singing Neo and just Neo.
Sean, so like you're thinking there. I'm not overthinking. I like Gary Trent. I don't think you're listening. I feel like every time I put context to what Gary Trent is doing, people think I'm hating on Gary Trent. That's not the case. Literally said Gary Trent is 6,100. Profiles extremely well for DFS, but you just hyped up DeSumo's on-ball defense. Well, then why wouldn't he just be on? You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like you're not consistent. Sean V, but I guess that's what you're known for. What up, Adam? Shout out to Adam. What up, Malakor? Am I crazy for liking Luke Kennard tonight?
A little crazy.
No, I mean, I don't know. Is there a reason, Doug, or you just got that feeling in your bad knee with the storm coming in? Unless like people were ruled out, I never really gravitate toward him. He's another guy we could put context some of his good games lately. Teams getting benched at half and he closes out, and a couple guys are out. But let's move on to the next game here. Kings at the Golden State Warriors. I do have to adjust here on the Warriors starting lineup, but projected starting five for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, bag alert, and Rashawn Holmes. Fox and Bagley extremely questionable. And the Golden State Warriors, we got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, maybe Moses Moody. I think it was the last incarnation of this lineup with Otto out, and Kevin Looney. 225.5 total, 13.5 spread in favor of the home team, Golden State Warriors. So let's start with the news. First of all, we did just get Otto Porter out, so I didn't get a chance to adjust this because we've been on the air. And on the Kings side, De'Aaron Fox has missed 5 or 6 games in a row now, and Bagley did not play last night. What we did see last night was Rashawn Holmes not touch the court in the fourth quarter. They went Damian Jones against the Nets there. So something to keep an eye on. It is a back-to-back, but 21 minutes really for Rashawn Holmes, which is unfortunate because I thought without Marvin Bagley that Rashawn Holmes could get 28 to 30 minutes, and that was not true. They went Damian Jones, they went Chimezie Metu down the stretch. So we talked about that a little bit on the PrizePicks prop show that we did before this show. Don't know quite what to expect with any of the bigs from the Kings, but that's really been how they've been all year. Alex Len, Tristan Thompson, Chimezie Metu, Rashawn Holmes, Marvin Bagley. Like they've been just tripping on top of each other from a minute prediction standpoint. So hard to know what to expect there. De'Aaron Fox has missed 6 straight. At this point, I'm just assuming he's out until there's evidence to push him closer to in. In his absence, Tyrese Halliburton benefits the most, and then with Terrence Davis out, Davion Mitchell, Buddy Hield also profiled pretty well. It's really easy to see that if the Kings want to win this game, and if we believe in the game script here, 13-point underdogs, there's a real outcome for 3 guard sets that involve Buddy Hield taking an elevated amount of shot attempts against Golden State. And then on the Golden State side, they're without Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green, Nemanja Bjelica, and now Otto Porter. So we can kind of isolate the expectations in terms of minutes, at least for the starters, for as long as this game stays competitive. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins would be guys I think play solid minutes. Wiggins, I think, could compete for most minutes on the team. Steph Curry, obviously, in play as well. But like I said, in a previous incarnation of Otto Porter being out, we saw Moses Moody get a shot at the starting lineup here. This game, you just struggle with it staying close, right? In the fourth quarter, we could get to nothing. I do think Klay Thompson, being a guy that they're working on his conditioning, I think he might just be live to get his minutes no matter what. So he was a guy that me and Josh did talk about on the PrizePicks show for his 3-point props. Klay Thompson has a 2.5 3-point prop, and the Sacramento Kings, they just suck. They give up a lot of threes. I think they're top 4, top 5 in threes allowed to guard. So maybe if you want to tail some Klay Thompson action there, go for it. I do think with a glass ceiling in terms of minutes expectations, 6'4", 6K, not necessarily a something that we have to force in. What are you thinking about this game? Is Steph Curry on a slate where Chris Paul makes a lot of sense, where Trae Young could rear his head and be involved, and Steph Curry being involved in a double-digit spread? Do you have any interest in this game? I think we expect Fox and Bagley down, or we project like we'll plan accordingly, and then Warriors are without Otto here. So what do you think we should do with the Warriors and the Kings?
Yeah, so I mean, if no Fox, I think I go right back to Halliburton. He let us down yesterday, but he with no Fox. I mean, he didn't. He had 41 fantasy points, which is fine. Let us down in Prize Picks, but even 41, I think, is close to his floor again. I just think he has 50, 55-point upside in any spot here. So I'll go right back to Halliburton. On the Golden State side, you mentioned Wiggins, who's been playing well since the All Star. Now, at 6,700, we see the upside, so I think he's definitely in the pool. Um, what am I going to do with Steph Curry at 10-4? Man, with Curry, I'm not in love with
Can
it.
we get Tyrese Halliburton to just stare him down in the third quarter, just mean mug him like Kevin Porter Jr. did? Because that was fun.
Maybe.
That was great.
And when it comes to Curry, Clay there, Wiggins playing well, it just I don't think I'm getting to a lot of Curry today.
Really, I thought you liked Curry.
I do like the good stuff. This Curry right now, the way he's been playing, even though he had a big game last game, not really with it.
Chat, can I get some hype in the chat from my girlfriend who just brought me a blanket
Oh, there you go.
for my feet, man?
Like, Curry's going to be the high. Curry's going to be he's going to be the highest, most expensive player on the slate because LeBron's not playing. 10-4. Cat versus Curry. Do I lean Cat even at raw points? I think.
If D-Russ was down, I could get
D-Russ is down. Definitely more Cat. And again, I like this kind of 9K, some of these 6K guys where I don't think I'll need to get to Curry today.
Yeah. All right. I think I guess I would make a leverage-based decision, but in my initial projection run, I have Steph Curry second to Anthony Davis in terms of fantasy points and AD. Even though he's expected to play, it's still a back-to-back, and also maybe some lineups get to Steph and AD. So I still have Curry projected for a lot of fantasy points. So I'm going to be there on him for sure. And then Wiggins. We talked about Wiggins. I think Wiggins is definitely in play for me. I did like some of his PrizePicks numbers as well. Might get to a little bit more Warriors confidence levels, but Wiggins had a 24.5 PRA, 30 fantasy points as his projection. I have Wiggins at 36. I think that's fine. I'll take that little Harrison Barnes revenge narrative if minutes tighten up and we can get mid to high 30s out of him. Sure, go for it. Overall, though, I'm leaning on the ceiling for tournaments and Steph Curry, and I think Andrew Wiggins has some meat on the bone at 6,700. Then Kevin Looney. So here's a fun thought. Kevin
He's been getting
Looney,
it done. He's been getting it done.
he has been getting it done for sure. There, and the front court is a little thinner. JTA might have to stretch out a little bit more. San Antonio, he played 23 minutes on a back-to-back after playing 26 minutes against Houston, 30 minutes against Brooklyn. The rebounds are nuts for him, 12, 14, and 15. Bro, last night Nick Claxton literally dropped 50 fantasy points in like 20-something minutes. And yes, he was being fed, and I don't ever expect Looney to
Be fed like that.
Right. But what the point is, 30 fantasy points is very much live against this Kings front
Oh,
court.
for sure.
And the Kings allow the most the most real points per game in the paint. So Kevin Looney is certainly somebody I can get behind to clean up the glass and maybe pick up some offensive putbacks, something like that. So Looney is really, really live, and I got him about 30 fantasy points on both sides as well. Warriors, Looney's at 7.5 real points, 10 rebounds, 20.5 PRA, and 27 fantasy points with 1.5 blocks and steals. I probably won't touch that, but they price him right on rebounds. I'll give him that. 10 rebounds, yeah, that's probably right. I'm gonna keep an eye on. Let's get caught up on chat before we matriculate on to the main event. Gunn, do you think AD plays normal amount tonight on a back-to-back? As long as he's active, I probably expect so. The last back-to-back he missed, I believe, was tied to a wrist injury. So I don't know that it was one of those precautions, right? So I would probably expect him to play normal minutes as long as that game stays competitive, which it should. What up, Bernard? Danny is the GOAT. Shout out to Danny for the blanket. Curry been playing more like jerk Curry. All right, I get it. Hey, lately Curry's been great. Gun can't hear you, or is Raj loud? Don't start that again, chat. 3 hours into live content and somebody just says something. Come on, you're trolling. Jesse says Trey Jones 4K. Don't think DeJounte Murray's playing tonight for the Spurs. I guess that's true. I don't know that necessarily Trey Jones would be the first man up. I guess it's possible, but you see Derek White play point guard and maybe Devin Vassell and Lonnie Walker fill in the guard
Trey
spot.
Jones played 33 minutes last game, or on the 30th. I don't know why.
I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility for Trey Jones to get run. I'm just saying it's this far out. I wouldn't lock it. I would want to see the lineup. Trey Jones against the Warriors there. That was a game where they kind of punted. Trey Jones did not play the last game. What game are you referencing?
The 30th?
The 30th?
Okay. Everyone else or something?
Yeah, that was the game where everyone went out. That was a game where DeJounte was out, Derek White was out.
Keldon.
Yeah. So that's and then he curtain called a DNP. So that's why I wouldn't be like confident that he would be part of the plan with DeJounte. Yeah, he could be, but I think it's more likely that Derek White would be the point guard and like a Vassell or a Lonnie Walker fill in that extra spot in the starting lineup. Good one. I do got a good one, Dave. And he's wearing an old school Run DFS shirt with the Camp DFS in it, man. That's like vintage. That's like a 5-year-old shirt. I still got some that like were extra stock. And she just like dips into them whenever she wants an oversized shirt. And it's just so cool to see an old shirt that looks new, right? Gun, don't be like my cousin with the heater, AC Nazi. My heater's on 78. So usually I'm a air conditioned guy, right? We usually set it to like 65 degrees, 66, 67. But the Mother Nature's handling that part for us. So when I get off the air, the heat's going back on. The only reason it's not on is because I don't want you guys to suffer from maybe some.
So we have to suffer from being cold.
Yes, he's doing it for the stream, chat.
Doing it for the stream. So if you appreciate that, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subbed. And yeah, but as soon as we're off the air, we can hit.
You get a good heater that's quiet. It's 2022.
Heaters
still gotta be.
So it's not. It's the mic. The mic picks up everything. I
guess they have the strong mic. Yeah,
I don't know.
That makes sense.
Anyway, Lonnie and White is really heavy on Spurs out. Yeah, and then also keep an eye on Doug McDermott, right? If Doug McDermott and DeJounte and, we already know Jakob are out. Like, yeah, there's more opportunity there. It's just predicting Popovich outside of the starting lineup is going to be a chore, a task even, right? I like Bam with no portal tonight. What you think? Yeah, I definitely talked myself with some Bam. It's a good points in a paint matchup. Man. All right, so we got one game left on the docket. It's the Clippers and the Lakers. Before we do that, take a pause for the cause. Plug RunDFS.com. If you guys want access to the spreadsheet and perhaps more importantly, the RunDFS.com NBA VIP Discord, you guys can go to RunDFS.com. Get your signed up. Get you a week pass, a 2-week pass. Bless you. Click VIP memberships and get on in there. And once you do sign up for whatever you do, you can click VIP portal. There'll be links to the spreadsheets, the Discord. For the year pass, which is listed at $539, comes with a $150 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. There's like 2 usages left on the V-Day coupon. V-Day, V as in Valentine's Day. So just, whoever uses it first gets it. It was limited to 5, and now you guys can get in there and get that. So run to it. And that'll cover everything. That's NFL, NBA, baseball. We're going to be working on some NASCAR. Get my boy Smeezy back in the mix, man. They've been crushing it with the prop channel. And then before lock, every day before lock, I'm in the voice chat right here. Chopping it up, reacting to the news, making fun of Raj, debating LeBron versus MJ, and having some fun.
Go, James.
So you guys come be part of the community. We'd love to have you. And you get a little credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. So you could almost get $350 to cover the year. That's nuts. Also, we're playing Super Bowl squares. Half of the squares have already been sold in less than a day. So if you guys want to add some no pressure, fun sweat action to the Super Bowl, come get with me on Twitter, or if you're in the Discord, get me over there. $200 prize first quarter, $300 for second quarter, $400 for the third, $600 for the fourth quarter. So it's going to be a $1,500 prize pool. $15 is the per square cost. And then PrizePicks.com. If you're not on PrizePicks, you're seeing so much content on this channel. Kind of gear as much as I can to some PrizePicks line of thinking. If you're like, man, I guess I'll see what the big deal is about. I promise you, man, just check it out. I think you'll like it. It's a way simpler way to sweat DFS. It's a way simpler way to not have to worry about Jared Butler, Elijah Hughes, Zeke Naji, Udoka Azubiki. You know what I'm saying? Guys that you feel pressure to play in a salary cap format. You could just attack spots that you like. So if you guys do want to try it out and you want to support my endeavors here, the free content, all that good stuff, the best way to do it, the best time to wear a striped sweater, is to sign up for PrizePicks and use my code Gundacker. And if you do that, they send me some money every month. Can't tell you how much, but per person. So good way to support your favorite content creator is to sign up using code Gundacker, and then they'll double your first deposit up to $100. So if you just throw a 20 bomb at them, they'll make it $40. Instant playable credit, no slow drip, none of that nonsense. And then you just tail some of the fire picks in the Discord or on the streams and make money. It's literally that simple. Play the right plays, make money, man. It doesn't get better or easier than that. Getting caught up on chat here. As of last week, top 5 on-ball defenders in the league: DeSumo, Thibault, Okoro, Van Fleet, and Drew Holiday. So you got 1 of 4 going head-to-head tonight. That's true, but I also believe isolation defense is kind of a thing of the past, and that's a great way to overthink players' impacts from a DFS standpoint. But I think we've all known that Drew Holiday and them are great. DeSumo being number 1 is interesting. Y'all getting this crazy ice storm? Yeah, we are. Matter of fact, even worse, Mike, is we live on the 2nd floor of our complex. Yo, Angel Umberto, I appreciate that sub. So if we ever want, like, I don't think we're gonna take trash out, but if we want to take the trash out, have to risk our life going down them stairs. You know what I mean? Holding them bags, can't really use the rails. So yeah, that was meant to say, Gun, don't be a heater. Like my Heat's on 70. Yeah, I'll definitely put in the Heat. What up, Valdo? What are your top 3 value plays on DraftKings under 4K? I do think it's going to be contingent on a lot of news that we're dealing with. But from this far out, under 4K, man, I can tell you what the projections say over what I say, I guess. Let's see. We are looking at... I sorted it the wrong way. We're looking at Drew Eubanks in line for minutes with no Yahoo and no Jock Landale. Not my favorite, but from a points per minute, points per dollar, getting about a 25 fantasy point projection makes sense. Avery Bradley's coming up, but that's just 20. These are all ugly clicks. Gary Trent's a top 3 value play right now. Isaiah Hardenstein, like none of these names are. I just throw them out a little bit looking at these names. Man,
DeJounte Murray officially out.
Is he? All right. Well, that's big then. If that's true,
out,
then you guys should go jump on some Spurs props right now because they're probably about to take them off. Bagley's out. That's good to know. Fox is questionable. Murray out. Doug McDermott out. All right. So now you people can have your Devin Vassell and your Lonnie Walker 23 fantasy points.
Like your boy told you. 20. Whoa, more like 35 fantasy points to 40.
Yeah. So I would get on some Derek White assist props, maybe.
Probably taken down already, tell you the truth.
I would also maybe brace for the spread to lean heavily towards the Heat. I can see this going 8.5, 9.5. Once the dust settles here. So yeah, they probably did take off the stuff already. So I guess before we dive into the Lakers Clippers, maybe we go revisit the Spurs situation here. And I think Derek White is going to end up being too cheap now. Even though the matchup is not something I love. We put White on the court, we take off DeJounte, and we take off Yaka Pirtle. And then we also got Doug McDermott off. So like I said, that also could be a little bit unsung. Might be a couple extra shots for Keldon Johnson too. White on DeJounte, Yaka Pirtle off. White has a 22% usage rate, but a 31% assist rate. And I guess we should for sure put Keldon on. I think Keldon's live to play 35 minutes. Hey. KZ, appreciate that sub. Welcome to the channel. Over a fantasy point per minute for Derek White, though, nonetheless. Over a fantasy point per minute for Lonnie Walker in this split as well. I'll tell you what, the usage rates aren't crazy. It's like Brad Stevens Celtics-esque. Like everyone's 20%. So it's just like evenly distributed basketball. And that's what I'm scared of. Because every time freaking Devin Vassell and Lonnie Walker end up being chalk, man, I swear it's so like average. I said, thank God I have Ridge. But yeah, I think just pre-flop they're going to profile as okay values. But I think Derek White assists props. If I can get them under 6.5 here, Derek White. Oh yeah, all the Spurs are off the board. Let me see.
Yeah,
Derek White.
He'll probably come back at like 6 or 7.
Log without DeJounte Murray. Let's go last 10 games on that one. There's no avoiding getting popped. Sean, that's the smartest thing you said all day. Be responsible here. Let's rotate it. All right, last couple games without DeJounte. 3 assists, 14, 9, 8, 10. So that 3 assists came in 22 minutes against the Raptors. Against that lockdown, Fred VanVleet, Sean V defense. But prior to that, Derek White has gotten you 6 or more assists in every game this year. And then even bleeding back to April. So just looking at this season, he's cleared 6 assists in every game but his most recent game without DeJounte. So I guess if PrizePicks brought us back online, that would be like 5.5 assists, which might be too low. Looking at his recent history and then also just looking at the fact that he had a 25% assist rate, I might get behind that. But I also feel like everyone having a 20% usage rate, Greg Popovich and a tough defense like the Miami Heat, that would be enough to kind of spook me. Maybe now that Pop has shown his hand on DeJounte, maybe Spoelstra will show his hand on Butler and Lowry because maybe one of those guys sit, and we feel a little bit better about the Spurs side, you know. Faded Goodwin last night. Dang, Malakir. Yeah, that sucked. Goodwin started with Jetty Osman, right? Who was that mentioned Trey Jones? Yeah, Trey Jones. Like I said, Trey Jones might have a shot. I sweat the Barnes over half a block and steal. That's low enough, right? New favorite superhero, Gunn and Roger. Let's go. Never playing Rondo again. Oh no. All right, Lakers.
I am Batman to God's Robin. Continue.
There's no shot that anybody watching this show thinks that I'm Robin and you're Batman. Not one person thinks that you're. Yeah, after that, you're the Joker, buddy.
I mean, Joker's pretty iconic. Let's be real. Joker's pretty badass. So I don't even think that's a diss.
Lakers at the Clippers. Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk, Avery Bradley, Stanley Johnson, Anthony Davis taking on Reggie Jackson. Amir Coffee, like the drink. Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris, Ivica Zubac. 220 total, 3.5 point spread in favor of the Clippers. Huh? What? Huh? Man, Lakers are down bad, huh? Traveling all the way to LA for this one. Let me double check that. Let me make sure I wrote that right because I could be a bum. Clippers are 3.5 point favorites here. Oof. Clippers have been really playing above expectation. The Lakers have been playing well below expectation. Without LeBron James, he's listed as doubtful. And AD, I'm bracing for him to play. Russell Westbrook, 8,500 on FanDuel, 9,600 on DK. He's going to project well, continue to project well. One of the lines that we did like if we are keeping that PrizePicks team, but really just, for DFS at 8,500 on FanDuel. Westbrook and AD on. Westbrook has sustained a 40% assist rate, and we saw that last night as well. He had 13, 14 assists last night. So I would be willing to double down on some Westbrook assist numbers and action tonight, assuming AD was in. If AD's out and we get that weird Vogel lineup that he threw against Charlotte, I wouldn't be interested. But a 42% assist rate in this split with AD on and LeBron off. And like I said, last night, Westbrook showed that, hey, he may not be killing it for fantasy, but got his 13 assists and then 12 assists. So I think PrizePicks had his assist line at 8.5 when we looked on the PrizePicks show. Now it's at 9. I'm still be interested in the over. So give me some Westbrook assist action on PrizePicks. Give me some Westbrook FanDuel action at 8,500. Give me some AD late night hammer action, part of 2 games at the 10 o'clock set, the 2.5 hour gap. And then on the Clippers side, this is weird. I feel like the Clippers are one of the rare teams in the league where I don't really put 30-minute projections on anyone. I got Marcus Morris leading the cause here. Amir Coffee is a guy that can play 35 minutes, but for one reason or the other, whether it be in-game adjustments or what have you, Lou has been really, really unpredictable in terms of where he's leaning on. So I end up almost rarely playing Clippers, but I'm getting a couple of okay projections at these price points. Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, probably the most notable. And I guess as we dig deeper into like the viability of Luke Kennard and Bledsoe, guys like that, well, we can just now maybe look at the Spurs side. What do you do with the Lakers Clippers? 1, do you think the Lakers lose this game as 3.5 point dogs? And 2, what about Westbrook and AD? How much, if any?
No, I'm kind of hoping the Lakers, after pulling out that win, learn to close out games, and I think they should be able to close out this game against the Clippers team with no Paul George and Kawhi. So give me some Anthony Davis. If he played anything like he did yesterday, he should feast here at 9-8. Definitely my favorite player in the 9Ks. I think I like him over DeRozan, even if Levine sits. Should be able to dominate here. So give me some Anthony Davis. Russell Westbrook, didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but still got you the triple-double last game. He's almost like a floor triple-double with 9 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists. So I think he can only go up from here. So at 9.6, I think he has 50 to 60 point upside. So I think he's going to be in the pool. Him versus DeRozan is a very intriguing 1v1. I think a guy like Malik Monk coming off a poor shooting performance, 5,800. We've seen his ceiling game. He can break the slate. So at 5,800, I don't hate that. And Carmelo Anthony's in play too at 5K, coming off of a 24.8 rebound game, 43 fantasy points. I think he can get you back-to-back 40-point fantasy points. The Clippers side, I actually think a lot of their prices are very cheap and reasonable. Reggie Jackson at 5,400. If he plays 30, 35 minutes, I think he can definitely get 35 to 40 fantasy points. And then you got Marcus Morris Sr. hasn't been getting it done lately, but I think in this matchup, he could also, if he plays 35 plus minutes, he could do his thing. And even a guy like Amir Coffey at 5,600, who's getting all the run, chucking up the shots, and we've seen a couple 40-point games from him.
I just don't feel great about minutes pre-flop, but yeah, as the in-game adjustments are made, a couple of these guys will get to deeper.
They're pricey. Like Reggie Jackson at 5'4". Last game he played 35 minutes against Lakers, dropped 35 fantasy points. If he gets hot, he can get you more. I think their prices allow them to have tournament winning upside.
Yeah, volatile, but yes.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Chat. Final questions, comments, concerns. Throw them at us. We'll knock them out. Lonnie Chalker. Let's go, Dan Leeson. I like that. It's a good one. There are no Spurs and PrizePicks, says Carlos. They yanked them. They'll be back. How about Bryn Forbes? He went crazy for the Nuggets last night. Dang. I missed that if he did, but yeah. Gunn is the mighty Hercules and Raj is Newton. I don't know.
Newton. I feel like I'm more Hercules. Thank you very much. Shout out to the bench press, but
I don't know.
Sir Isaac Newton, smart guy. If you're talking about him,
I don't know who Newton is.
Maybe Sir Isaac Newton's the only guy.
Because you're definitely not. If it's Isaac Newton, you're definitely not. I feel like I'm gonna type Hercules and Newton. Maybe I'm getting, I don't know, Greek. Oh, okay, I get it now. If this is Newton, yeah. Newton. Newton's a Pegasus. I don't know what is this. He's half boy, half baby horse. Wow.
Okay, I'm definitely Hercules.
That was a reference.
That was a reference.
Okay. All right. I like that. I'll be Hercules.
You're definitely not Hercules over me in any world.
What do you mean?
In no world.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
In no world that you're Hercules over me.
Monk has a Q tag now in DK. Something to keep an eye on. Ipsa says a good tier 1 tonight for fantasy, like tier 1. I'm still leaning on some news here, right? I would love this D'Angelo Russell news to feel great about Cat. I'm thinking Anthony Davis is probably going to end up being the stud that I hang my hat on. I like a lot of Chris Paul. I would like Trae Young to be in for that to feel better. And then DeRozan if we get Levine out. So there's so much high upside, high floor guys that is missing that one piece of news, right? For Chris Paul, I'm hoping Trae Young is in, ironically. For DeRozan, I'm hoping Levine is out. For Cat, I'm hoping D-Russ is out, and I also would like Beverly be out. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm kind of still waiting on. So I don't know that I can sell you on a tier 1 just yet, but I do have I will be bracing to get copious amounts of those guys. I guess Gary Trent Jr. on DraftKings has a pretty soft price, all things considered. You think Jeremy Grant is in play for Detroit? And Jeremy Grant waiting on Cade Cunningham news. I think he's absolutely in play no matter what, but he becomes that much better. He probably has a usage rate close to 30% without Cade. I would probably say maybe 26%, but even that might be strong enough, long enough to get us where we need to go. So Jeremy Grant on the court, Cade Cunningham off the court this season. Jeremy Grant has a 27% usage rate over fantasy point per minute. So, yeah, absolutely he'd be in play. But, again, waiting on news. Cade Cunningham is pretty important. Any free throw props you like? I know you generally don't like to do them. No, I haven't even looked at them. Do we have free throws made? Let's see. I got DeRozan up high, so I guess if he's getting to the foul line and Levine ends up being rolled out, do we have one on DeRozan free throws? They got him at 6, so that's kind of where I got him. And I could probably get to a little bit more if Levine's out, but no, I don't have interest in free throws right now. But just what's something low that we might be able to get behind? Adebayo against the inexperienced front court, maybe. Reggie's at 1.5, maybe. Maybe he gets Westbrook in a little foul trouble. AD's at 5. Maybe AD 5 for his usage being as high as it is. Against Marcus Morris, Zubac, Ibaka. I could see 5 being a spot. Maybe AD, but I also feel like I'm not in my comfort zone getting to the free throw projections, right? Doug says I'm feeling Clippers versus Lakers going to go to 18. Neither of these teams have been running away with victory this season. That's fair. Matter of fact, we can. What's the net rating on either team? I guess it's not fair to look at Lakers net rating without LeBron James. Who wins in an arm wrestling match? Me and Raj. I'd smoke Raj. 10 out of 10.
But I'm a little more like lean and chiseled and like
I'd
I don't
still
know.
smoke
Maybe
you.
I have more muscle on you. Yeah, you're just a bigger dude.
Muscle.
I think
mean,
I might have
more muscle, but I don't think you could bench more than me.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, probably because that's what people understand. There's weight classes for a reason, right? Like, what do you weigh right now? Like, I'm at like 205.
Wait, what do you bench right now?
Or my bench, bro. I can do a 275 incline. Stop playing with me. Incline bench, that's elite. Every time I do that at the gym, people be staring.
All right. How many minutes will Larry see tonight? That's going to really depend on if he plays. He was out for personal reasons, so it's not like he was
like 315, 350.
Benching. I don't know. I was more of a squat and leg guy, but
what are you squatting? 400?
800. What are you talking about?
You squat stop.
You squat 800. You don't even know. Okay.
Anyway. Time out. No. Squatting, squatting 800 pounds is like Olympic level lifting crazy.
Bro, I have shut the gym down on the leg press, bro. I'm
not leg press, like squat, like actual squat racks.
I had a 1200 leg press. I stop. I don't like. No, we're staying humble out here. God dang it!
I'm not gonna lie. I don't care what size you are. That's impressive. That's pretty nutty.
It was nutty, but it was also like all of the gym rats were mad because I had all the 45s on the thing. They were mad. Anyway, let's end the show. Let's wrap this up.
Conversation people want.
No,
that's what they want.
I don't like. No, I'm humble, man. We ain't out here trying to swing and bang. What do you recommend on Jeremy Grant against points or PRA? Let's see if I have any bit of again. Most of my any of my Pistons aspirations tonight will need Cade Cunningham to be out. 18.5 points, 26.5. I guess PRA would give me enough of enough leeway. He's only got a 2-point gap between his PRA and fantasy score. So I'd probably take the fantasy score as long as he's not like a big turnover guy. When the PRA is that close, he does turn the ball over a little bit, but he can make it up with one stock. He does turn the ball over a little bit. But I'd probably just take the fantasy points. But even then, so what's the fantasy points on him? 28.5, and I'm looking at on Detroit, I'm looking at 35 as is. So it only goes up without Cade. Yeah, I'd probably take the fantasy points on Jeremy Grant if I had to choose. Best squats 225 for 50 reps. 50, damn.
That's insane reps. Yeah, no, that's
when I was hitting 800, I promise you, I was not doing 50 reps. I was doing one. I did one and put it up, right?
225, the most reps I ever did, probably like 12 to 15 tops. But legs weren't my strength. Everyone has their own strengths, right? Their body type, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. I was a big old boy back in my day, man.
Yeah, I understand. Like they saying, oh, gun can't do 800, but at his weight, like what were you at that time? 375.
It was
like your weight.
It was high. It was probably higher than that. I was a big old boy.
Yeah, sure. If you're 400 pounds, yeah.
And we were doing 2 a days, 3 a days. I lived in that friggin'. I can't do it today, chat. Don't get that twisted. We not putting 800. If I hit 800 down, we dropping it low. We never getting back up. That was way back when. Anyway, too many NFTs today, maybe. What up, Butthole? What up, everyone else? J Truth, Obi-Wan, man. You guys are awesome. Top locks for PrizePicks, man. If I had to lock it right now, I'd take Westbrook over assist. I might get into Capella first half fantasy points if Trae Young was in. I like Wiggins numbers now with no auto. And still, I'm waiting on a lot of news. So I guess Westbrook assists right now is my favorite prop, just as is, right? Last spot, Fanduel tournament, Marcus Morris or Amir Coffey. I think Coffey probably plays more minutes, but Marcus Morris probably has a little bit more per minute production and ceiling. The game goes the right way. Yeah. So I guess from a GPP standpoint, Marcus Morris. Let's still Hercules in my book. Let's go. DeRozan PRA over or under. Also, what do you think about DeRozan with points over? I would love to get behind a lot of DeRozan overs if we get Levine out. and that's not something we have right now. However, those midday questionables have certainly been something that I lean closer to out, right? Right, Hercules. All right, man. You leave it to Raj to bring the chat off the rails today. Every day, off the rails.
Hey,
every day.
give what the people want.
Tomorrow's Friday, so I'm expecting complete, utter chaos from an NBA scheduling standpoint. And we will be dealing with 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 games. Most of them in the first hour or 2 hours. And then we got Sixers at the Mavericks, Thunder at the Trailblazers to close things off. Any notable back-to-back? Spurs tomorrow host a back-to-back with the Rockets. The Pistons are on a back-to-back. They got the Celtics tomorrow. The Bulls are on a back-to-back. They got the Pacers tomorrow. And looks like it. So, yeah, we already got some Pelican news. That we'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central for the PrizePicks Prop Show. The 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central for the DFS show. And then right now, I'm headed to the Discord. You guys can come and be with us right here. J. Cole's waiting, man. Get up in there. Click there. We'll be hanging out for the next couple hours. Hanging out, chopping up the slate, talking up some props, man. We'd love for you guys to be part of it. Rod's hottest take of the hottest ever taken this hot. Go.
Devin Vassell, 45 fantasy points.
Devin Vassell.
Vassell, I keep saying Vassell. What are you going to do?
Chat, I appreciate you making part of my day be part of your day. Stay warm. Let's get this heat going. I'm freezing. Crush it tonight.
Stay warm.
Give me
some
those
hot
screenshots. Get some football squares. Hit those thumbs up. Make sure you're subbed. I love each and every one of you, man. Thank you for another good time. Good luck. God bless. Go with some money.